Hi everybody, this is the second part of Chapter 3, Section 2, Energy Flow. We finished our last section with a review of the vocabulary terms and the key concepts. Let's get into this section talking about the different relationships in our ecosystems and how energy flows through them. The relationships between producers and consumers connect organisms into these networks based on who is eating whom. Energy flows through an ecosystem in only one direction, from the sun to the autotrophs or producers, and then to the heterotroph or consumer. The energy from the heterotroph or consumer never goes back to the sun. It only flows in one direction. You guys have seen food chains before, and it shows a single direction flow of energy. A food chain shows how the energy is transferred based on who's eating whom. So the algae is the producer, the zooplankton are consumers, small fish eat the zooplankton, to the squid, to the shark. You move from producer through the levels of consumers. Pretty basic concept. Now ecologists describe a feeding relationship in an ecosystem that forms a network of complex interactions as a food web. In other words, a food web links all the food chains in an ecosystem together. Like the food web you saw previously. If you take that one and you add it to several other food chains and they start to crisscross because the squid is eating something else besides just the small fish. So the second food chain and a third and a fourth creates a more complex relationship or interaction, and that's a food web. Now, in a food chain or food web, you have trophic levels. Trophic levels are each of the steps in a food chain or food web, so producer to consumer, and up and up and up. Producers make the first trophic level. Consumers make up the second trophic, third trophic, and higher trophic levels. Each consumer depends on the trophic level below it for its energy. So the producer gives energy to the first level consumer, and the second level consumer depends on the first level, and it works its way that direction. It seems pretty logical when you know what a food chain is. As an ecological pyramid takes us to the next level of understanding how this works. So if a food chain shows the direction of energy flow, this type of thing, an energy pyramid, is a diagram that shows the relative amount of energy or matter at each trophic level of a food chain or a food web. An ecologist might use one of three different types of ecological pyramids. You have energy pyramids, you have biomass pyramids, and you have something called the pyramid of numbers. Now, let's start with energy pyramids. Energy pyramids show the relative amount of energy available at each trophic level. So if the sun shines down onto the producers, they have 100% energy. As part of the energy, only part of the energy at that level, all right, that is in that energy level is passed on to the next energy level. So only part of the energy stored in one trophic level goes to the next. So if you go from producers at 100%, only a part of that energy is going to go to the first level consumers. We figure it's about 10% of the energy from one trophic level gets passed on to the next, or transferred to organisms in the next. So if you have 100% at the bottom, 10% goes to the first level. Of that 10%, only 10% is going to go to the next level. The other 90% tends to get lost as heat energy. In a biomass pyramid, it's the same idea. But now instead of talking about energy, you're talking about the amount of living tissue at a trophic level. Living tissue is called biomass, living mass. Biomass is usually represented in terms of grams of organic matter, grams of living things, living material, per unit area. A biomass pyramid represents the amount of potential food that's available for each trophic level. Because if there's 100 small fish, that's how much food the squid at the next level have available for them to eat. The final pyramid in ecology is a pyramid of numbers. Just like the energy pyramid and the biomass pyramid, a pyramid of numbers shows the relative number of individuals at a trophic level. So 100 fish would equate to this many squid, and that many squid would lead to that many sharks. For some ecosystems, the shape of the pyramid of numbers is the same shape as that of the pyramids for energy and biomass. But in some ecosystems, there are fewer producers than there are consumers, like in a forest ecosystem. In this one, the pyramid shape gets all sorts of different. We're not going to concern ourselves with those things. We're more concerned that you understand the difference between an energy pyramid, a biomass pyramid, and a pyramid of numbers. Alright, that does it for this section, but I told you, like last video, there's a lot of vocabulary terms here for you to understand. I would guess coming in, you already know most of these, but a few of these things, like chemosynthesis or detritivore, might be new to you. At this point, you should be able to pretty comfortably answer the 3 key concepts. If you can't, you've got some studying to do. Good luck.